Hi, I'm Don Barry, and this is another edition of CFBC Through the Years. Now, last week we had a very special guest, Priscilla Preston. Priscilla is a treasure of this church, and I also believe that she has been a member here longer than probably anybody else in our congregation. But today we have another treasure with us, a lady who has been a big part of not just Chester FBC, but a big part of my life as well. And that is Miss Suzann Spindler. Welcome, Suzann, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Well, it is a pleasure. I thank you very much. I mean, this is an honor for me.
Well, it's an honor for us to be able to share some of your memories today.
Oh my, if
What?
I can remember some of them.
What year did you and Dave become part of the First Baptist Church in Chester?
1961,
1961.
yes.
And you were saved and baptized somewhere else?
Yes, in Karnak, which is 100 miles south of here, in a little church, little Baptist church. And I was 13 years old when I was saved. And I served in that church, different little things. And then, of course, when we got married, we came up here. And I was green as grass and did not know anybody, or I was just lost. I didn't know anybody until we moved to where our first apartment was on George Street. And how God is amazing. When I look back, I see how God worked in my life. I missed going to church, but I didn't really know how to do that because I didn't know anybody. There was a couple. His name was Eb Jones and hers name was Nell. And they moved in next door and they were members of this church. And they got acquainted with me, and she asked me one day, she said, "Do you go to church anywhere?" I said, "Well, where I came from, I was a member of the Baptist church." Well, she said, "I would love for you to go to church with us." And I said, "Okay," I did. And I did, and it took a while before God says, "Now it's time for you to join that church." He spoke to me mighty, I did. And I started out in a Sunday school class over in the library. And I can't remember who the teacher was, but one of the members who just befriended me was Doris Williams. And to this day, Michelle said she still asks about me.
Isn't that wonderful?
And I started there, but I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satisfied sitting in a Sunday school class. So God was moving, but I didn't know that. So I went to the director of Sunday school. I don't even remember who that was. And I said, "I would like to do something in the church. Do you have something for me to do?" "Yes," he said, "I'll tell you what we can do. We'll put you in the nursery." And that's where I started. I started in the nursery, and I worked my way up.
And Dave worked in the nursery quite a few
25
years.
years.
Didn't he?
Yes.
I know him and Peggy Johnson
Yes.
used to
Yes.
hold the fort down in there
Yes,
with all those
yes,
little guys.
yes. They worked for 25 years in there. Yes.
I also remember and had Dave as an RA leader. Do you remember those days?
Oh, yes.
He was very involved here in the
Yes,
church
he
as
was.
well.
He was, yes.
Was he saved when you came here? Or was he
Yeah,
saved
he
after you
was,
got
but he really hadn't grown.
here?
He really became stronger with the Lord when we moved here and got involved in the church, and he got involved with the church. And then that's when he began to be more stronger in his faith. Because I asked him one day, I said, "I want to ask you something. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior?" "I have." "Okay, all right." I said, "You know, it's time for you to do something that you really could do something in the church too." And he realized that. He realized that. So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, if you could think back over all the years that you've been here, what do you consider your most memorable moment in this church?
Okay. It's been a while back, but I was just thinking about that today. I was on my knees at the altar upstairs, And God says, take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. Wow. And I took my shoes off. And I remember Mike saying, he saw me do that, and Linda saw me doing that. And I said, well, God told me to take my shoes off. I was on holy ground.
Wow. You mentioned Pastor Mike.
Yes.
What do you recall about some of our other pastors? And you sat under as many as I have.
Brother
starting
Gent,
with Reverend
especially.
Gent.
Oh, yeah, that sweet, sweet man. He was so gentle. You know, he had such a sweet spirit in him. Just so kind and loving and compassionate. And, you know, he was a person who didn't hurry you. You know, he let you take your time. And of course Joe Sledge, he was quite interesting, you know.
Yes, he was.
He had a motorcycle. He wanted to take me for a ride on a motorcycle one time. And
Did
I
you
said,
go?
no,
Oh.
I did not. And Bob Brookman with that beautiful baritone voice.
Oh, His grace is sufficient for me, and His love is abundant and free.
Oh my goodness, when he was sing, the church was just filled with beauty, you know. Yes, they all touched my life. And I remember one time Vernita and I were sitting in the very back, and Joe Sledge was preaching at the time. It was of a night. And she looked at me and got tickled. I said, Vernita, don't look at me. Well, I started laughing, and I couldn't stop laughing, and I had to take a songbook and put over my face.
Oh, no.
I said, he's going to kick us out of this church.
Did he call you out?
No, he didn't see us, because
kinda surprises
I
me.
hid
He
down.
would.
I hid down behind the seat so that he couldn't see me.
Oh, and,
yes.
and you were telling me a while ago, how many years have you sang in the church choir?
45 years.
45 years.
I finally had to give it up.
Wow.
That was a difficult time for me to have to give up.
Who was your first choir director?
The first choir director was, I think, Bennett. What was
Reed
his-
Bennett?
Reed Bennett.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And he challenged us. We were always singing with piano.
Uh-huh.
And he challenged us to sing with a tape, and we just all just froze. You know, we're not used to doing something like that. But God had other things in mind, you
Sure he
know,
did.
and we've grown as a choir. Well, when we really first started out, there was only 4 of us in the choir.
Really?
There was Norma and Linda and Peggy and I.
Really?
And so we decided
A
we
little
were not.
quartet.
Yes, we were not going to let that choir die. So Linda said, she's going to direct it. She said, I'll direct it. And so we encouraged people to come, and that's how it got started.
Well, that's cool. What's your favorite song?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. What was it? I was telling Brenda Williamson, and this is one of my favorites, is Beulah Land.
Beulah Land.
Beulah Land. She's going to sing that at my funeral. Yes, that is what. That's one of my favorites.
And then there's the one you sing for us quite often.
Oh yes,
You sang it a few
we
weeks
will,
back.
We will ride.
We will.
He has fire in his eyes and a sword in his hand. He's riding a white horse across this land.
And yes, yeah, just like Mike said. Mike says that's our song.
That's right.
It's amazing how things.
Consider what he's preaching about right now with Revelation. It's
Yes.
very
Yes,
appropriate.
coming of Christ.
What's the biggest change that you've seen since 1961? And now here we're in 2021.
Oh, my goodness.
What's the biggest change you see in the way church was then and is now?
A big change. Oh, so many people touched my life. So many. Mr. Randolph, he was one of my favorite. And when he prayed, the Holy Spirit just filled this place. And then Mr. and Mrs. Biggs and Carrie McFadden. Things have changed. People have changed. I think sometimes the commitment isn't as strong as what it used to be. But we're still here, and there's still people working, serving the Lord in this church. We have new people coming all the time, which is good. We're supposed to have that. Yes, God is not going to give up on this church. He will continue to till the day He decides that it's done, and He'll take us home.
Take us
You
out
know,
of here.
but
That's right.
yeah, there's all kinds of things that I could tell you about, but just the people. Mrs. McKenzie, my mentor, she's the one who taught me so much. Her and Charlie. And she taught my 2 girls in Sunday school. People like that. We have people like that today
Sure.
that are still, serving the Lord and praying and encouraging. We have a lot of good people in this church.
Yes, we
A
do.
lot of good people.
Yes, we do.
Yes, and I'm so thankful for every one of them. Every one of them.
Well, in 2037, the church will be 100 years old. 100 years. Can
It's
you imagine
amazing.
that? What do you think the church will be like in those coming years?
I don't know. I really don't know.
We may not even be here.
No. No. Well, I know I
Jesus might have
won't.
already come and got us.
Yeah, I know I won't. But if there is not any more commitment, we've got people now who are committed to the Lord. But I've seen in some of the things that I read that there are people who are dropping out of church, especially young people. That I can make it on my own. I don't need God. I'll do it myself. And that's sad.
Yes, it is.
That's why we need to encourage young people, to, hey, hang on there. God can use you, but you've got to stay faithful.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for coming and
Oh,
sharing some of your memories
It's
today.
it's my pleasure.
I thank you for being a part of my Christian upbringing, and
Well, I hope
to
I'm-
this day, I still, I've sat under you as a teacher, as a kid, as a youth, as a young adult, and as an old adult, and I'm thankful for that.
I'm thankful that Lord uses that He's allowed me to serve Him.
Well, this has been our 10th episode, and we hope that all of you viewers have enjoyed our trips through the rich history of this church. And there are more stories to be told, and when 2022 arrives, we might be back to share a few more of them with you. We're going to take a little break over the holidays. We're going to have a little special treat for you around Christmas time. Until then, I'm just going to tell you to keep on loving God, loving people, and trying to be more like Jesus. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.